all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All praises due. Peace and blessing to the elect of Israel who are out there practicing or following the law of liberty. Peace and blessings to you today. So, we are going to continue on with our Lost Book series. And this is a pretty good book that I got this time. I read it through one time, and it really was an enjoyable read. Got a lot out of it, and I hope it's a blessing to you. It's called The Apocalypse of Abraham. Abraham, the father. The Apocalypse of Abraham. Now, I'm just going to give just a little brief little overview of it. I'm not going to get into too much of it because it's a lot, but we all know who Abraham is. His father was Terah and descendant of Noah, the ninth descendant of Noah. He Nahor was his uncle, or I think his brother, and Hera. Yeah, Nahor was his brother, and Hera. And Hera was the father of Lot, who was Abraham's nephew. And the Most High was the one who summons them to leave Ur, which is at that particular time called Chaldea. And that's kind of like where Iraq is now, kind of where the Euphrates River and Persian Gulf, that area. Back then, that area was called the Chaldea area. So that's kind of like what the genesis of where we came from. Our beginning was with Abram. His name first was Abram. Then later on, the Most High changed it to Abraham because he said you would become the father of many nations. So anyway, he married Sarah. So that's kind of like just a little brief introduction to who Abraham is. I'm pretty sure everybody, you guys all know who Abraham is anyway. But pretty much the apocalypse of Abraham pretty much is about Abraham started to question his father. His father Terah was an idol worshiper. He made many idols out of wood and stone. In Ur, he made idols, and he worshipped these idols. And Abraham started to question, like, man, Dad, why are you worshiping idols that you made? How can the thing that's being made be more powerful than the thing that's made them? You making these idols and you're worshiping. He started to kind of question that. So the Most High began to work on him, to work on his spirit that, that this wasn't the right thing to do, to be sitting here worshiping all these idols made of hand. So in the course of time, the Most High, he killed it. The Most High brought fire down and destroyed his father Terah's house and killed all those and destroyed all those idols. But he summoned Abraham to get out before he did it. So that began Abraham's journey. So then, an angel, Most High sent an angel messenger down to kind of guide Abraham along to Mount Horeb, where he was to do a sacrifice to the Most High. And after the sacrifice, the Most High brought him up. The angel brought him up to the heavens. So where the Most High discussed with him the things that were going to be in the apocalypse or the eschatology, which we all know what eschatology is, the end time events, or what was going to start, what was going to happen to the people of the power, to his people, and to the heathens, and just the earth in general. So just kind of like a quick introduction to it. But as we read, you'll start to kind of follow along what's going on. So, and I'm going to try my best to keep these around 15 minutes. So we'll start reading in chapter 1. On the day when I was destroying the gods of my father Terah and the gods of my brother Nahor, when I was testing which one was truly strong God, at the time when my lot came up When I had finished the service of my father Terah sacrifice to his gods of wood, stone, gold, silver, brass, and iron, I, Abraham, having entered their temple for the service, found a god named Marumath. 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 And you know what I'm gonna do with this reading? There's a lot of words that I believe that'll help if we give an explanation for what they mean. So periodically, I'm gonna kind of stop and maybe go look for the definition of that word. So right now, I'm gonna see if I can find a definition for Marumath. Marumath. Let me see. Marumath. Heavier than stone. Doesn't really have too much on it, on what it means. So we'll just continue reading. We'll leave that alone. So he found a god named Marumath, carved out of stone, fallen at the feet of an iron god named Nekhor, Nakhon. And you guys can maybe do some research on yourself if you want to look up these names. Maybe you can find a little bit more on them. But because of time, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. And it came to pass that when I saw this, my heart was troubled, and I fell to thinking, because I, Abraham, was unable to return him to his place all by myself, since he was heavier than a great stone. And I went and told my father, and he entered with me, and as we both were moving him, Marumath, to return him in his place, his head fell off of him, while I was still holding him by his head. And it came to pass, when my father saw that the head of Marumath had fallen off of him, he said to me, Abraham. And I said, Here I am. He said to me, Bring me an axe and a chisel from the house. And I brought them to him from the house. And he carved another Marumath out of another stone, without a head, and placed on him the head that had been thrown down from Marumath, and smashed the rest of Marumath. Chapter 2. And he made 5 other gods, and he gave them to me, and told me to sell them outside in the street of the town. And I saddled my father's ass, and put them on it, and went out to the main road to sell them. And behold, merchants from Pagan, Aram, came with camels to go to Egypt, to buy coconut from the Nile there. Coconut, Kokonil, from the Nile there. And I greeted them, and they answered me, and I began to talk with them. And one of the camels bellowed, and the ass took fright, and he ran and threw down the gods, and 3 of them were smashed, and 2 remained. And it came to pass, when the Syrians saw that I had gods, they said to me, Why didn't you not tell us that you had gods? We would have bought them before the asses heard the camels cry, and you would have not lost. Give us at least the remaining gods, and we will give you a proper price. And I thought it over in my heart, and they gave also the price of the smashed gods for the gods that remained, since I had been distressed in my heart, wondering, how would I let my father know about this matter? And the debris of the smashed gods I cast into the waters of the river Gar, Gur, which was at that place, and they sank into the depths and were no more. Chapter 3. And while I was still walking on the road, my heart was disturbed, and my mind was distracted. And I said in my heart, What is the profit of the labor which my father is doing? Is not he rather a god of his gods, since by his sculpturing and carving and skill they come into being? See, the Most High starting to work on it. It would be more fitting for them to worship my father, since they are his work. Makes sense. What gain is there for my father in his own works? Behold, Marumath fell and was unable to get up again in his own temple, nor could I lift him on my own until my father came and we both lifted him. And as we were unable, his head fell off of him, and he placed it on another stone of another god, which he had made without a head. And likewise were the other five gods, which were smashed down from the ass, which were able neither to save themselves nor to hurt the ass, for it smashed them, nor did their shards come up from the river. And I said to myself, if it is thus, how then can my father's God, Merimoth, having a head of one stone and the rest being made of another stone, save a man, or hear a man's prayer and reward him? Chapter 4. In thinking thus, I came to my father's house and watered the ass and set out hay for it. I bought out the money and gave it into the hands of my father Terah. When he saw it, he was glad and said, blessed by my gods are you, Abraham, for you gave honor to the gods, so that my labor was not in vain. And I declared and said to him, hear, Terah, my father, it is the gods who are blessed by you, since you are a god to them, since you made them, since their blessing is perdition and their power is vain. They could not help themselves. How then will they help you or bless me? In fact, I was for you a kind of a god of this game, since it was through my cleverness that I bought you the money for the smashed gods. And when he heard my words, his anger was kindled against me, since I had spoken harsh words against his God. Chapter 5. When I saw my father's anger, I went out, and afterwards, when I had gone out, he called me, saying, Abraham. And I said, here I am. And he said, gather and take the splinters from the wood out of which I was making wooden gods before you came, and cook me a meal. And it came to pass, when I was collecting the wooden splinters, I found among them a small god lying among the pieces of wood on my left. And on his forehead was written, God Bar-Ishat, Bareshath, Bar-Ishat. I'm going to say Bar-Ishat. And it came to pass, when I found him, I held back and did not tell my father that I had found the wooden god Bar-Ishat among the chips. And it came to pass, after I had put the splinters on the fire in order to cook food for my father, that I went out to ask about the food. I put Bar-Ishat near the heat of the fire, saying to him menacingly, Bar-Ishat, make sure that the fire does not go out before I come back. If the fire does go out, blow on it to make it flare up. And I went out, having kindled my fire. When I came back again, I found Bar-Ishat fallen backwards, his feet enveloped in fire and terribly burned. Laughing greatly to myself, I said, Bar-Ishat, you certainly are able to kindle the fire and cook the food. And it came to pass, while I was speaking laughingly, that he was gradually burning up by the fire and becoming ashes. And I brought the food to my father, and he ate. And I gave him wine and milk, and he drank, and satisfied himself, and blessed Marumath, his God. And I said to him, Father Terah, do not bless your God Marumath. Do not praise him. Praise rather your God Bar-Ishat, because in his love for you, he threw himself into the fire in order to cook your food. And he said to me, and where is he now? He has been reduced to ashes in the fury of the fire and become dust. And he said, great is the power of Bar-Ishat. I shall make another today, and tomorrow he will make my food. Chapter 6. When I, Abraham, heard such words from my father, I both laughed in my mind and yet groaned in bitterness and anger of my soul. And I said, How can a statue made by my father ever be his helper? Or would he have subordinated his body to his soul to his spirit, then his spirit to folly and ignorance? And I said, must one put up with evil? Let me risk my life for purity, and I shall put forth my own clever thinking before him. I declared and said, Father Terah, whichever of these gods you praise, you err in your thinking. Behold, my brother Nahor's gods standing in the holy temple are more honored than yours. For behold, Zahut, my brother Nahor's God, is more honored than your God Maramat, since he is made of gold, sold by men. And if he becomes worn out with the years, he will be remade, whereas Maramat, if he is changed or broken, will not be remade, since he is of stone. And what about Yokvan, Yoavon, a god who is in the power of another god, who stands beside Zok, since even he is more honored than the god Barthashath, who is made of wood, while Yovan is forged of silver, and being better proportionate, he is sold by men in order to show them. But Barthashath, your god, before he was made, had been rooted in the ground, being great and wondrous with branches, flowers, and various beauties. And you cut him with an axe, and by your skill the god was made. And behold, he has dried up, and his sap is gone. He fell from the heights to the ground, and he went from greatness to insignificance, and his appearance has faded. Now he himself has been burned up by the fire, and he turned into ashes and is no more. Yet you say, today I shall make another one, and tomorrow he will make my food. But he retained no strength and utterly perished. Chapter 7. This I say, fire is the noblest element in the image of the world, since even the things which are otherwise unsubdued are subdued in it, and since it mocks with its flames the things which perish easily. But I would not call it a god either, since it is subjugated to water. Water is indeed since it overcomes fire and soaks the earth. But I would not call it a god, since it is subjugated to the earth, running underneath it. I would rather call the earth noblest, since it overcomes the substance in abundance of water. But neither would I call it gods, since it is dried up by the sun, and since it is made for men to plow. So I will call the sun nobler than the earth, since with its rays it illuminates an inhabited world in the various airs. But I would not make it into a god either, since its course is obscured both at night and by the clouds. Nor again would I call the moon and the stars gods, since they too in their times at night can darken their lights. Listen, Terah, my father, I shall seek in your presence the God who created all of the gods which we consider. For who is it, or which one is it who colored heaven and made the sun golden, who had given light to the moon and the stars, who has dried the earth in the midst of many waters, who set you yourself among the elements, and who now has chosen me in the distraction of my mind? Will he reveal himself by himself to us? He is the God, the power. Chapter 8. And as I was thinking about these things, here is what happened to my father Terah in his courtyard of his house. The voice of the mighty one came down from heaven in a stream of fire, and saying and calling, Abraham, Abraham. And I said, here I am. And he said, in the wisdom of your heart, you are searching for the power, the God of gods, and the Creator. I am he. Leave Terah, your father, and leave the house, so that you too are not slain for the sins of your father's house. And I went out And it came to pass, as I was going out, that I had not even gotten as far as going beyond the doors of the courtyard, when the sound of thunder came forth and burned him in his house and everything in the house down to the ground, to a distance of 40 cubits. So the Most High killed his father and burned everything. Chapter 9. Then came a voice saying to me twice, Abraham, Abraham. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Behold, it is I, fear not, for I am the primordial and mighty God, who initially created the two luminaries of the world. I protect you, and I am your helper. Go, take for me a heifer in her 3rd year, a she-goat in her 3rd year, a ram in his 3rd year, and a turtle dove and a pigeon, and set out for me a pure sacrifice. And in this sacrifice I shall set before you the ages, and make you known secrets, and you will see great things which you have not seen, since you love to search for me, and I call you my friend. All praises. But for 40 days abstain from every food which issues from fire, and from the drinking of wine, and from the anointing yourself with oil. And then you shall set out for me the sacrifice which I have commanded you, in the place which I shall show you on a high mountain. And there shall I show you, and I shall show you the ages, and things built and firmed, made and renewed by my word. And I shall make you know what will come to pass in them on those who have done evil, and those who have done just things among the races of men. So we're going to stop right there at chapter 9. I hope reading has been a blessing to you. Like I say, meditate on it and listen to it a couple times, and may the Lord bless.